Viewers of this year's Grammys were shocked when Lizzo took the stage to present an award after facing harassment allegations last year. Fans were outraged at the moment, which was her first major appearance since she disappeared from the spotlight after those awful claims came out about her, which she still denies. If you don't remember what happened, several of her former backup dancers filed a lawsuit against her, accusing her of being inappropriate with them physically and creating a hostile work environment. At the time, she defended herself, saying, "These sensationalized stories are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. As an artist, I have always been very passionate about what I do. I take my music and my performances seriously because at the end of the day, I only want to put out the best art that represents me and my fans." So, back to the Grammys. When Lizzo was unexpectedly introduced on stage, she warmly welcomed her close friend SZA. The two of them hugged on stage and SZA thanked her for being by her side throughout her entire musical journey. He said, "Lizzo and I have been friends since 2013 when we were on tour together. To be on the stage with her is amazing, I'm so grateful." But of course, neither of them mentioned the lawsuit. In fact, Lizzo came out to thunderous applause on stage as though nothing had ever happened over the past 6 months. No wonder fans were getting upset. I mean, this lawsuit is still ongoing. Just yesterday, a judge in the case denied Lizzo's request to have the case thrown out, which means that it'll likely be going ahead. But they did end up throwing out some claims, like the allegations that she fat-shamed a dancer and required others to pose nude for a photo shoot. Stefan Fragman, her spokesperson, released a statement saying Lizzo is grateful to the judge for seeing through much of the noise and recognizing who she is. "A strong woman who exists to lift others up and spread positivity. We plan to appeal all elements the judge chose to keep in the lawsuit and are confident we will prevail." Well, it's not over yet, and unfortunately, it remains to be seen whether or not Lizzo can prove her innocence. And we'll get back to the lawsuit a little bit later. Like I said, there was so much drama going on at this year's Grammys, it's hard to talk about it all. For one, Taylor Swift also received a fair amount of backlash over the weekend for supposedly being disrespectful by ignoring Celine Dion when she was accepting an award for Album of the Year. Celine made a surprise rare appearance at the ceremony amid her ongoing health battle with stiff person syndrome. She presented Taylor with the honor, which she herself won 27 years ago. Taylor became the first person to win the accolade 4 times, making history. Celine handed her the award, but fans pointed out that Taylor did not acknowledge her and didn't even seem to make eye contact with her. Instead, she quickly looked back to celebrate the moment with her collaborators instead. Of course, it wasn't long before that clip started circulating on social media, and people had a lot to say about it. One person wrote, "Taylor Swift didn't even hug or acknowledge Celine Dion. Can't effing stand this woman." Another person said, "Taylor Swift completely ignoring Celine Dion like she was just some trophy model presenter. She's won this 3 times and is usually such a pro, but to ignore an icon who is dealing with so much, yikes." Not only that, but she also got comments like this: "As someone who has defended Taylor, I cannot defend this. No acknowledgement of Celine whatsoever." But whatever happened, it's clear that it had no real effect on Celine. She was visibly emotional when she walked on stage with the support of her elder son. She said, "Thank you all, I love you right back, you all look beautiful. When I say I'm happy to be here, I really mean it from my heart. Those who have been blessed enough to be here at the Grammy Awards must never take for granted the tremendous love and joy that music brings to all our lives and to people all around the world." But of course, the Grammys had a lot more awkwardness going on. JayZ slammed the award show and called out the ceremony for snubbing Beyoncé by never awarding her Album of the Year. During his acceptance speech, JayZ talked about how he has always wanted the Grammys to recognize the artists that most influence culture. He said, "How far have we come with Will Smith, the Fresh Prince winning their first Grammy in 1989 and boycotting because it was not televised. And then we went to a hotel to watch the Grammys. I don't even understand, it was not a great boycott. But then in 98 I took a page out of their book and was nominated for Best Rap Album." He went on to say, "I'm just saying, we want you all to get it right, or at least close to right. And obviously it's subjective because it's music and it's opinion based." At this point he looks at Beyoncé and says, "I don't want to embarrass this young lady, but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about it. The most Grammys never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work." He then doubled down by saying, "When I get nervous, I tell the truth." Man, there is nothing quite like using your acceptance speech to trash the Grammys. But he does have a really good point. A lot of award shows don't make sense, and the fact that this is the highest accolade in music makes it seem a little out of touch with the world. In an effort to restore their reputation, the Grammys have gone through a lot of changes over the last few years, and most of it is a direct response to all the criticism. It seems like people are not only angry that the awards are consistently failing artists of color, but the fact that the actual nominating procedure is sketchy as hell because it allows insider manipulation. These major changes include the ballot for the top categories expanded from 5 slots to 8, and then from 8 to 10. Last year, they also eliminated most of the nominating committees, who were supposed to be anonymous groups of experts whose job it was to whittle down the choices by voting members to decide which artists made the cut in dozens of categories. But despite the Grammys' attempts to improve how decisions are made and just get with the times, we're still seeing more and more artists rejecting the accolades than ever before. Okay, now let's get back into this Lizzo situation because some people do not realize the extent of the allegations. As we know, 3 of her former backup dancers, Ariana Davis, Crystal Williams, and Noel Rodriguez, accused her of creating a hostile work environment and pressuring them to participate in X-rated shows. They claimed that they were made to touch a nude performer at an Amsterdam strip club during a tour party. The attorney for the dancers said his firm was reviewing at least 6 more complaints against Lizzo from people who toured with her or worked with her on her reality show. Ron Zambrano told NBC News that the new allegations were of a charged environment and failure to pay employees. He said that in reviewing the claims, he determined that some are potentially actionable, but others aren't. So essentially, it's too soon to tell whether other dancers will be joining the suit. But even so, there have been more and more women coming forward and sharing their experience about working with Lizzo. Sophia Nali Allison, the Oscar-winning filmmaker, weighed in on the situation, stating that she quit her role as a director of a Lizzo documentary back in 2019 after only 2 weeks, because apparently she was treated with such disrespect. She wrote, "I walked away after about 2 weeks. I was treated with disrespect. I witnessed how arrogant and unkind she is. I was not protected and was thrown into a bad situation with little support. My spirit said to run as fast as you effing can, and I'm so grateful I trusted my gut. I felt gaslit and was deeply hurt, but I've since healed." Now, the former dancer who worked with Lizzo spoke out on her Instagram stories about her own experience with the singer. She explained that while she isn't technically part of the lawsuit, she does agree with the things that she is being accused of. So in her own words, she said, "This was very much my experience in my time there. Big shout out to the dancers who had the courage to bring this to light." Lizzo's former creative director agreed with the statement. She took to social media and wrote, "I haven't been a part of that world for 3 years, for a reason. I very much applaud the dancers' courage to bring this to light, and I grieve parts of my own experience. I'd appreciate space to understand my feelings." So basically, by this point, fans were really starting to notice just how many of Lizzo's former colleagues had something negative to say about working with her. One of the main plaintiffs behind the law, Ariana Davis, claimed that she was fired in April for recording one of their team meetings because she said that she suffered from an eye condition that sometimes left her disorientated in stressful situations. So in her case, recording the meeting would help her catch up with what was going on. Days later, Lizzo held an emergency meeting and had security employees confiscate all the dancers' phones. She allegedly became furious and started yelling obscenities at the group, stating that she was going to go around the room person by person until someone told her who made that recording. Ariana finally owned up to it and said that she wanted to have a copy of the performance notes. She insisted that she didn't mean any harm by it and that she would delete the video, to which Lizzo allegedly responded by saying, "There is nothing you can say to make me believe you." She then fired her on the spot after berating her. In that lawsuit, she also accuses Lizzo of calling out the dancer's weight after an appearance at the South by Southwest Music Festival. In a meeting with all the dancers this year, she allegedly said that it was normal for them to get fired when they get fat. The weight-shaming allegation is part of a disability discrimination claim in the lawsuit, as Ariana says that she had an eating disorder. As for Lizzo, she's certainly being dragged on social media. She ended up losing 200,000 followers on Instagram alone. But so far, there is little evidence that she's lost any major deals from the scandal. And clearly, she hasn't really been affected in the music scene either. I mean, just think about the fact that she was allowed to present at this year's Grammys. So it actually says a lot about how people are moving on from this current scandal. What do you guys think about this news story? Do you still feel that Lizzo is guilty? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all in the next video.